Fox News alert for you. The wife of the man killed in a police shooting in Charlotte, North Carolina, now sharing some graphic cell phone video that she shot during the altercation. Fox News just now getting access to some pictures from that footage. You can see Keith Scott on the ground after the shooting with police around him. Let's talk to our panel. Greg Jarrett is a Fox News anchor and a former defense attorney. Eric Guster is a criminal defense attorney. Greg, we were talking about this during the break. We've both seen the video. What's your take?
It's ambiguous, shot from a distance, a bit shaky. You don't see a gun. You don't see the shooting itself. You don't actually see, the best I could tell, the alleged victim, Keith Scott. But there is a narration by the wife on the scene. She's shouting out instructions. At one point, she claims her husband doesn't have a gun. She instructs them that he has a traumatic brain injury that he's suffering from, which could prove key in this case. And finally, she keeps saying over and over again, don't do it, don't do it. Yeah. Is she talking to her husband, don't do it, as if make a threatening motion? It's hard to tell. It is,
although I think there's a point where she says, Keith, don't do it. I mean, it sounds like she's talking to him.
It does.
I mean, I watched it 4 or 5 times, and it just, Eric, what's your impression?
And a lot of it depends on what her narration is. What she's saying, she told her husband, don't make them bang out the windows, which indicates that they may have been trying to enter the car. And they also told her, just like Greg said, that he has a TBI, he has a traumatic brain injury.
He just took his medication, she says.
Right.
Yes, which could indicate some type of mental health issue that the police have to be trained on how to deal with those things. So, and we've had several cases where mental health has been an issue with police interactions, and if they did not do this properly under protocol, then they could be in trouble.
Greg, one thing that strikes me is the amount of time that goes by. I mean, it's about 2 or 3 minutes where she has run back and she's getting, I believe, a cell phone charger or something for her phone. She comes back. It's this instinct that we all have now, that when something's going on, you grab your phone and you start recording so you have a record. And she never stops talking to everyone involved, saying, you know, don't shoot, don't shoot. He doesn't have a gun. There's so much conversation before the shots ring out.
Which makes it all the more important and imperative for the police and now the State Bureau of Investigation to release this videotape to the public. Why? Because there's a public safety concern that overrides any compromise to the investigation. I would argue there is no compromise to the investigation. All of the police officers on the scene were immediately interviewed, including the shooter himself, who, by the way, is black. That's another factor in this that hasn't got much emphasis. So those dash cam video and the body cam video of police should have been released a long time ago.
Eric, you know, watching this video, it was amazing to me, something that the police chief, a lot of other people have said, that it creates more questions than answers, and I really felt the same way watching this. I almost had it was less clear what had happened. How do you sort through all of that?
That's why we need everything. It's very interesting that the police chief said we're not going to be totally transparent, which the public wants transparency. Remember the Laquan McDonald shooting in Chicago, where the chief said, this is bad. I'm going to let you all know it's bad, and we're releasing it at 8 o'clock. The public appreciates that. The public appreciates a chief of police saying, this is a bad video, or even giving his narrative, this is what we believe the video shows, and here it is. Because so many communities do not trust the police, which you've seen time and time again, where the video does something different.
What about that? Because that's a good point. If you say we release the video, here it is. You know, we're going to rectify the situation. I mean, you can't bring someone back who's gone.
But cameras don't lie. The video often is the best evidence in a particular case. Here, there's more than one particular video because these police officers have body cameras. There is a dash cam video there. It's interesting that the chief of police, Care Putney, originally said, this is a justified shooting, the videotape will prove it. Then all of a sudden he's hammered yesterday during a news conference, backs off and says, well, the video doesn't actually show a threatening move, and that's key.